Today we're going to be doing a full body dumbbell workout. We're going to be starting with compound movements for the upper body and then moving to the lower body and doing some compound movements for the lower body next. If that sounds good to you, go ahead and hit that like button. It helps support the channel and it lets me know that you want more of this type of content. So we're going to be starting out with a warm-up doing, what I would do is take what you think you can do an exercise with and drop it down by 1/2 or about 10 to 20 pounds depending on the exercise. So I'm going to be starting with a close grip chest press. Now I'm going to be using a bench, but you could do this laying down on the floor as well. So if you don't have a bench, don't worry, you could do this laying down as well. And for this, I'm going to be grabbing a 20-pound dumbbell. So for the chest press, we're doing a closed grip because that hits more of the tricep muscle, the muscle in the back of your arm. You're going to start with your hands out in front of your shoulders and you're going to bring your elbows in. So this is going to angle my hands just a little bit. I'm going to keep those elbows in close to my sides. From here, I'm going to bring the dumbbells down just a little bit higher towards my front of my shoulder. See how my elbows are actually lower than my hands, as opposed to a chest press, which your elbows are in line with your hands. So I'm going to bring them down just a little bit higher and then back up. So I'm bringing my hands a little higher than my elbows, tap the front of my shoulders and then come back up. So doing about 10 of these, getting blood flow into the muscle. Now this shouldn't be strenuous yet, we're just warming up. So try and pick a dumbbell that's light enough where you feel that the muscle is getting warm but not worn out. So this is getting blood flow into that muscle, into the connective tissues. So it's just like warming up your car. You don't want to just start cold and then instantly step on the gas pedal to peel out. You want to slowly accelerate. Same thing with working out. So I'm letting my hands drift up slightly to put more emphasis on that tricep. So that's going to be our first exercise for chest. Works the muscles in the chest, back of the arm, and front of the shoulder. Now I'm going to just move the bench out of the way. And we're going to do a bent over row. So for this, I'm going to have to get in the right position to protect my back. So I'm going to drive my hips back, so I'm hinging at the hips. I'm not bending my back, I'm just pushing my hips back, letting my arms hang down to the ground. So from here, thumbs pointed in, we're going to do a row by driving the elbows back, pulling up to the chest, and then letting the arms come all the way back down, keeping that back flat. So you can look up to help keep that back flat. So driving the elbows back, doing about 10 reps of these. You should feel this in your upper back and between your shoulder blades. So this is a bent over row. All right. So those two exercises cover both the pushing and pulling movements of the upper body. I'm going to warm up my legs a little bit too right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a sumo squat. So for this, you're going to step wide with your feet. So double shoulder width apart. Dumbbells up at your shoulders. From here, keep your chest up. You're gonna bend your knees, going down like you're riding a horse, and then back up. You should feel that in the top of your thigh and inner thigh. Doing about 10 reps of these, getting blood flow into those legs, warming up your legs. Really trying to keep your chest up as you do this. Really open up those thighs. And relax. Shoya, welcome to the stream. Good to see you. B2, hey, welcome to the stream. Welcome. Good to see you. Now we're gonna do a stiff-legged deadlift using dumbbells. So you're gonna hold the dumbbells right in front of your thighs. Now on this one, what I want you to think about is pushing your hips backwards. So you're not leaning forward with your back, you're really driving the hips back, letting the arms just hang down. You should feel this in the back of your hamstrings and glutes. We're working those muscles in the back of the thigh and hips. So we want to do a light enough dumbbell that you're not exhausted at the end of this. We're just warming up those muscles, getting them primed to move. I like to do a warm-up set first and then switch to a heavier weight after. So I'm really trying to drive my hips back, keeping my back straight, hinging at the hip. This is a great exercise, especially if you have stiff hamstrings. Love this exercise. Used to do this with plyometrics. So you can do it with plyometrics, but I would be careful. I wouldn't start with plyometrics because it can be higher risk of injury. It's not bad to be plyometric, but usually you want to work your way into that. Get it strong first, then build into plyometrics. And I usually don't see that as much with plyometrics. You'd see that more with like a kettlebell swing. That's a little bit more plyometric. Usually you don't see that, the stiff-legged deadlift variation. Let's talk about the transverse abdominis. Hey, what do you want to talk about that? That's this belt of muscle. That's actually, you know what? Let's talk about that a second. So what you're gonna do is put your hands on your waist, and what I want you to do is trying to push your hands out with your stomach. So push in and then try and resist that with your abs. That's your transverse abdominis, and that's that muscle that is a belt of muscle around here. While we're doing this movement, you actually want to be trying to hold that tension in this muscle. So what I want you to do, push in with your hands and then try and resist that with the muscle, tense up that muscle, and then try and let go with your hands, hold that tension. That's gonna help keep your back safe as you're doing this, to keep that back straight. Like the first 4 packs. I don't know what that means. The first 4 packs. So if you're talking about the 6-pack, so the 6-pack is actually a muscle that runs from the rib cage down to the front of the hips. That's called rectus abdominis. So you have one that goes this way, and then one called the transverse abdominis that goes this way. Then you also have the obliques, which go at a diagonal this way and this way. So rectus abdominis is the 6-pack. It's I think there's actually all the way down to an 8 where it's down below here, but usually still have as a 6-pack here. That's rectus abdominis. And then in the sides around is transverse abdominis, which is more of a belt. It wraps all the way from the spine around to your belly button. Pack of abs, yep. And so rectus abdominis is more pulling up this way. Transverse abdominis is stabilizing that spine. They're both ab muscles, but they do different things. So now we're going back to the bench to do close grip chest press. So hands starting over the top of your shoulders, keeping those elbows tucked into your sides. You're gonna bring the hands to the front of the shoulders. Now I'm keeping my grip narrow with this, so I'm keeping my elbows tucked in. That emphasizes more of that tricep, where my hands actually come a little bit higher than my elbow. I'm still pushing my chest out, trying to keep those elbows tucked in though. And my hands are slightly angled, where I'm getting more of that tricep. I'm aiming for about 10 reps of these. Now it still hits the chest, but not as much as it hits those triceps, to let the hands drift up just a little bit. Last one. And relax. Drop the hands down to the knees and sit up. It's like building a weightlifting belt. That's exactly right. It's your natural weightlifting belt. Isn't the close grip bench not a good exercise for tricep? So if you're going so close that it's here, then it stops being as good for tricep. If you're still keeping it shoulder width, if you think about it, if I'm here, I'm bending that elbow just slightly, so I'm still hitting that tricep. Now, you are missing some of that long head development you would get in the skull crusher. So it's not as much of an isolation of the tricep. So in that way, if you want to really specialize into tricep, you could pick a different exercise. We're doing compound movements, which hit a lot of muscles at once. So we're hitting some of the chest, some of the tricep, and the close grip bench press does hit tricep more than the wide grip. So depending on how specialized you want to be, you can make it, if you're short on time, or want to get more muscles in one exercise, that's why I like the close grip bench press. Tricep kickbacks, tricep extensions, and dumbbell skull crushers. Dumbbell skull crushers are probably the best out of those because they hit that long head of the tricep. The problem with kickbacks is you're only hitting 2 out of the 3 heads of the tricep. So only these parts down here by the elbow, not this big piece of the tricep that you hit when the skull crusher, when your hand's up here in that skull crusher, you're hitting that longest piece of the tricep, the largest piece of it. And that's why it's a really effective tricep exercise. Yeah, so, and not to say tricep kickbacks don't have a place, but they tend to be a very heavy isolation exercise, and for the smaller pieces of the tricep, well, the skull crusher hits those pieces as well as the larger piece. All right, so now we're going to do a bent over row using dumbbells. So same thing on this one, trying to engage that transverse abdominis, so tense up your stomach, try to push your stomach out to the sides. I'm gonna drive my hips back, let my arms hang, look up with your head. I'm gonna slide back so you can see me a little bit better. You can even do this with your butt against a wall. So bending forward, engaging that transverse abdominis so you're not bending your back, pulling up to the back. I'm trying to really drive my elbows back as I do this. Pinch my shoulder blades together. Coming back to a full hang for that full range of motion. And 10. And relax. So this is great for the back. Hang on one moment. I do a barbell, but this is much more intense. So yeah, the barbell on the rows, you could definitely do that. I feel like the barbell or the dumbbells are both a really effective way of doing that. So it's whatever equipment you have available. Absolutely. Yeah, so Soya's right. So the way I was doing it is I'm emphasizing more of those traps and rhomboids up here. If I was doing it close to my body, I'd be getting more of those lats in here. I'm still hitting the lats, just not as heavily as I'm emphasizing the shoulders. Excuse me. So what I like to do is push the dumbbells on my knees and then push my knees up to the front to bring the dumbbells right over the top of my shoulders. From here, elbows are in, dropping the hands down, pushing out towards the front. Doing that close grip, so I'm right in front of my shoulders as I do this. So I'm not flaring the elbows out, I'm keeping them in, dropping down, and then back out. Trying for about 10 reps. So I'm going heavier to get to 10 reps. Now, if you don't have a heavier dumbbell, but you feel like you can get to 10 pretty easily, then just add more reps. That's totally fine. And relax. So we're doing 3 sets in all. So I like to do 3 sets each time I work out, so I get a total of 9 sets through the week. So your shoulders act weird when you're trying to perform it. Something you can do is pinch your shoulder blades together and try and push your hands a little bit wider just so they're not tucking in. Sometimes if they deviate in, they can twist your shoulder out like this. Try and keep that shoulder back and down. So really pinch those shoulder blades together. So I'm sort of like this. So you can try it without dumbbells first, just to get the movement down. You should feel stabilized in that shoulder blade though, by pinching the shoulder blades. Oh, you mean during lat pullovers? When you're doing this? With, so, does it feel weird when you're in this position, out to here? When you're really out flat? So you could, let's talk about that for a second. Let's just bring this down. So if I'm doing a lat pullover, where I've got the dumbbell here, going out, down here, and then over. So if you're in this position, you're like, man, my shoulder feels a bit weird. And what you could try is lightening the dumbbell. If it's especially on one side, lighten the dumbbell and just go as far as you can right up to that point, and then hold for a moment and then back. So hold for a moment and then back. Trying to gain range of motion with that, where you're able to do that movement without it feeling weird or uncomfortable in your shoulder. I'd start with a lighter dumbbell than you think, and because it might be that one of the muscles that stabilizes your shoulder is not as strong as some of the other muscles or other parts of the muscle. So you're strengthening the muscle through that range, in the lighter range, to really get all the way through that movement. And then as that starts to feel more comfortable, then increase to heavier weight. It's possible that some of the big muscles are strong and the smaller stabilizing muscles haven't quite caught up yet. So I would start there and then work your way up again, just to see if that helps with the shoulder. So it's when you're bringing the dumbbell up. Does it feel like a popping or a instability in the shoulder where it's shaking a bit? Instability? Yeah, so I would try the lighter dumbbell and work on that stability in that range. So try and go all the way slowly through the movement with a lighter dumbbell, and then build it up over a couple weeks or months. Or let's say a couple weeks, see if that starts to improve. There might be something else going on with your shoulder, and if it continues, you might want to get it checked out. Obviously, I can't see you and I'm not medical. I'm just here for the exercise part. If it persists, you might want to look and see if there's something going on with the shoulder. I would recommend doing rotation movement, strengthen that rotator cuff. It's always a good option. But see if you can fix it, or see if you can address that problem with an exercise directly for lightening that weight and building up that stability with a lighter weight, because we're only as strong as our weakest link. Where am I based in? I'm based in the West Coast of the United States. So going back. So what we're gonna do now is a bent over row, going for set number 2. So pushing your hips to the back, drawing your, keeping that transverse abdominis engaged, stabilize your back, pulling up, pinch the shoulder blades together, and all the way back to the ground, or right above the ground. And 10, and relax. Yeah, I do personal training. Work with clients, building up strength and helping them live happy, healthy lives. And that's what I want to do for people on YouTube too, is help people get moving, help people get stronger, maintain health. Because I think a lot of people lose muscle strength, and there's no reason for that, where we can feel better about ourselves, live happier and healthier. So that's what I want to do, is help people live that way. So I work with individual clients, and then I also do this on YouTube because I want to help educate and help empower people to do stuff, to know what to do and how to build strength without injuring themselves. So doing a closed grip, keeping those elbows tucked in, bringing the hands to the front of the shoulders, then back out straight. It's okay if the dumbbells are slightly angled. That is totally fine. It's actually one of the ways that it's a little bit easier to get this position with dumbbells because they can move independently. This is set number 3. And relax, drop the dumbbells to your knees and sit back up. Real, this is fun, live streaming while working out. Not a lot of people do it, and also giving out great insights. Hey, thank you. I appreciate that. I appreciate you guys being here. If you like this sort of content and you know someone else that would, what would help me out is sharing it with a friend who would help to grow the channel, get more people up and working out. And so if you want to be a part of that, then know someone who likes this sort of thing, go ahead and hit that share button. It would help me out greatly. Thank you guys. So we're gonna go into our set number 3 of bent over row. Even just being here, working out with is great. So glad that you guys are here. You guys are taking the steps to build a happier life, build strength, and build that healthy body. So we're gonna do a bent over row, keeping that transverse abdominis engaged. So really engage that stomach, pressing in, and get that tension in your stomach to protect your spine. Then bend over, keeping that tension, keeping that natural weight belt. So letting the dumbbells hang. I'm gonna slide back just a little bit and pulling up to the back. That wasn't a good one. There we go. And 10. I can feel my left arm gives out more than my right arm on that one. All right. I'm gonna take a quick second, catch my breath before going on to legs. So if you're liking this sort of content and want to see more, I host these live streams at 11 a.m. Pacific time, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. If you're looking for a workout or just have questions, then I'll be here. Look forward to seeing you guys there. So we're gonna keep on going into legs. So we're gonna try and get 3 sets of legs done. So for this, I'm gonna grab 30 pounds each hand, put them on my shoulders. I'm gonna do a sumo squat. So wide stance, toes pointing in the same direction as your knees would bend. And then bending down, keeping that chest up. Nice wide stance. I'm really working the quads and the adductors, which are the muscles on the inside of the thigh. So I'm really trying to bend those knees to work the quads. The more I keep my chest up, the more those quads have to work. Two more. And relax. Now I'm gonna let the dumbbells hang in front of my thigh and doing a stiff-legged deadlift. So I'm going to drive my hips back, keeping my back straight. So I'm gonna look up, still with that same transverse abdominis engagement. Really trying to feel this in the back of my hips. Now you might get to a point where you can only go down to here. I think that's as far as the muscle goes. It's okay, go as far as you can to the ground. Hang on a moment. Bulgarian split squats with a dumbbell. It's a great exercise in my opinion. Yeah, it is. I really like that one too. Builds muscle and more importantly makes your leg activate explosiveness. So you can, especially if you really push back up with that front leg, it can help with that explosiveness of the quads. I do agree, it's a great exercise, really hits those quads very effectively. With the sumo squat, we're also hitting these adductors, these inside the thigh muscles. So with the split squat, I'm hitting those quads a ton. Some of the sides, but mostly the quads. And that's why I like the sumo squat a little bit, because I'm hitting two muscles at the same time. But split squats are a great exercise. I definitely do them. And I wouldn't change a thing about them. I think quad strength, so important, such a great exercise to be doing. All right, now going back to stiff-legged deadlift. Trying for 10 of these. So bending at the waist, really pushing your hips to the back. You should feel that engage in the hamstrings in the back of your thigh. I'm really driving the hips back to engage those hamstrings. Last one. And 10. And relax. So that was set number 1 of legs. Yeah, the split squat, definitely very good. I like lunges, very similar exercise. Just because they're a little bit less time to set up, but I think the split squat is actually a better exercise for just really getting everything out of those quads. So I drink water during my workouts. It's just plain water. I don't generally drink an electrolyte drink during, but I do drink a protein shake with salt and other electrolytes after. There's nothing wrong with drinking it during. Some people that works really well for, and I just like the taste of plain water better, to be honest. The electrolyte drinks can help replenish electrolytes faster. As you're losing that in sweat, you can be regaining it, so they are definitely a really good thing. Yeah, so if you're drinking something with electrolytes, that's great because you're losing electrolytes as you work out, and replenishing those is good. If you are trying to lose weight or cut down on weight, then having something sweet during a workout is something you have to account for in your calorie deficit. So just make sure you're not overdoing your calories in. But especially if you're doing a long duration workout, having something sweet can give your body glucose and blood glucose to keep on going so you don't wear out, because you can run out of sugar and then you have to rely on more fat metabolism, which is slower, and it's usually not conducive to pushing really hard. So that's why something sweet can be helpful. You notice that especially with high endurance athletes like marathon runners, cyclists, people who are doing long durations, if you're in the gym, hour and a half, 2 hours, that's not me. I tend to do about an hour workout, so I tend to not have something sweet, because I can get through an hour workout without adding more glucose. Then I just eat a meal after. But if you find that you're running out of energy, maybe try a little bit of a sweet drink, see if that helps. Nothing wrong with that. Just make sure that you are accounting for that in how much you eat during the day. So if you have something sweet during the workout, make sure it doesn't push you into a surplus or too much of a surplus of calories. All right, so going back to the sumo squat for our second set. Nice wide stance, bending the knees in the same direction the toes are going. So keeping that chest up, back straight, bending down, and then back up. Going as low as you can. Try and go for 10 reps. Keep breathing, keep breathing. 10. And relax. Your workout lasts a little over 2 hours. Wow, okay. To rest a lot, I guess it's better to rest fully between next set, ensuring full intensity in every set. And that can definitely work well. That really lets you maximize the strength output you can do, and so you're not limited by your cardio. So that can be a really good way of doing it as long as you have the time. As you can see, I go a little bit more back to back without fully resting between. That gets me a little bit more cardio, but it probably limits a little bit of my muscle growth. Not all of it, but let's say I'm getting 85% of muscle growth instead of the full 100%. That's a made up number. I'm just giving you a ballpark idea. So it can be a really beneficial thing if you have the time to rest between. There are pros and cons of everything really in working out. So rest between usually lets you push more intense, but it takes longer in the gym. You have to spend more time doing the same workout. So it's a trade-off. What works best for you? So set number 2 of stiff-legged deadlift. So I'm bringing the dumbbells right in front of my legs, letting them hang, engaging that transverse abdominis, tensing my abs. I'm pushing my hips out to the back, keeping my back straight. Just gonna show you from the side view. So you can see I'm looking up to keep my back straight. I'm not rounding at the spine. I'm really putting that all in the back of my thigh. Especially on these last 2 reps. 9. I'm really focusing on not rounding my back even though I'm tired. And 10. One more set to do. Will it make a difference if there's a fixed rest between every set? Because I know there are certain exercises that I guess require more rest, like bench press. Yeah, usually the more muscles are involved, the more rest time you need between sets. So legs, big muscles and a lot of muscle involved. So it tends to be more rest needed between sets. Bench press, large muscle group. So triceps and chest, these are large muscles, and they take more time between to recover. So usually the number is about 2 minutes between sets is enough time to recover for any exercise. But that's an average. You might find you need a little bit more time than that personally. It's really the rule is how much time before you feel energized enough to do your best effort. Usually that's somewhere around 2 minutes. I like the 2 minute rule because it gets you in and out of the gym faster. Though if you're spending 2 hours already, then you've got the time to commit to it. You could spend longer than 2 minutes between, as long as you are feeling ready to go by the next set. You feel energized, you're like, okay, I don't feel that fatigue anymore in my muscle. Don't feel fatigued mentally, because that's the other part of this. Your mind, your nerve, your muscle is actually controlled by electrical impulses. It has to send a strong electrical impulse, so the nerves can actually get tired too. So that's part of that cognitive fatigue. I'm a student and unemployed currently. That's why, hey, it's great that you're taking the time now to make working out part of your life. You're investing now into your body. So that is so good. I'm so proud of you. Because even though you're a student, taking the time in the gym, that's so much better than just sitting watching TV or doing something that's not to knock TV, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, but that you're taking the time to really build up your body now while you have time. That's so good, because that will make it so much easier to maintain that muscle health, that bone health, that entire skeletal system. If you have it, it's so much easier to keep it rather than try and build it up later. All right, so I'm going for the last set of legs. So, and that's true no matter what age you are. I've had clients who are in their teenage years and clients who are 85. So much easier to maintain muscle than it is to rebuild it. But even if you're 85, you can still regain strength. You can get stronger, get healthier. I had a client who was a World War II vet, thought he would never walk again, and we strengthened his legs back to the point where he was actually walking a mile without a walker. So don't let people say you can't do it, or let yourself tell you you can't do it. You can always work and improve and get stronger. So, last set of sumo squats, bending the knees, sitting down, nice wide stance, keeping that chest up, so looking up towards the front. Trying for 10 reps. Last one. And 10. How much protein do you consume on a daily basis? So I consume about 160 grams of protein on a daily basis right now. The number I try and do is 0.7 grams per pound of body weight. So, or if that's if you want a little simpler number, just 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. So for me, I weigh a little over 200 pounds right now. Right now I'm about 211. And so 0.7 times 211 gets me in that ballpark of 160. I can't even touch half that. So your body will use what you eat. So if you want to give your body a lot of building materials, to build up muscle, to maintain other things other than muscle. So you need protein for your immune system, for your other cells. Your whole body runs with protein, so that can really help. It's not to say that you won't grow or you won't build muscle on less protein, but that's the number I shoot for, because I'm trying to give my body ample amount of protein to build that muscle. It is tough to find cheap sources. What I found works for me, and this is not a sponsor, but if you guys want, I can put an affiliate link if you want to help support the channel, is I use Now Sports Whey Protein. I do 2 scoops of that a day because it's about, I think it's about 50 to 60 grams extra protein. It's really inexpensive compared to other sources of protein. And it's very easy to digest. It's a high quality source of protein, and it comes from, it's a whey protein, so it comes from cow milk. So as long as you don't have any problems with dairy, it's a great source. Let me know if you would like for me to put I'll put an affiliate link if you're interested. And that will help support the channel, but it won't cost you any extra. But I hear you, it is tough to find the cheap sources of protein. I was doing it all through meat and eggs, and I found that it was cheaper to go through a protein powder. I still eat eggs and meat and other things that have protein, but I supplement using the protein powder to meet that daily allotment. So I will look for it after the stream, and I will put that in the I'll try and put it in the description and then put a comment down below as well. All right, so where were we? We just finished our 3rd set of sumo squat. So now we're going for our 3rd set of stiff-legged deadlift. Now your body will use what it has. So if you have less than that, you can still build muscle. But I like to give my body as much as I can to really try and maximize how much muscle growth I'm doing. Because especially as your body gets older, and this is more for people, in their 50s, 60s, it becomes harder to absorb that protein. So having more protein than we think is a good habit to get in, especially when you're young. I know for me, I had the same problem in my teens. I was not eating nearly enough protein. And so I wasn't maximizing the amount of muscle I could build during those years. Even in my 20s, I probably was eating less than I could have been. Last one, and relax. All right. All right. So that is our workout for today. Thank you guys for being here. If you like these live streams and want to see more, I host them on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 11 a.m. Pacific time. So hit that subscribe button and bell to be here live. And I'd love to talk to you, answer any questions you might have. Keep up the good work.